The Philippines is known as one of the most disaster-prone countries in the world. Between January 1900 and May 2006, the MDOT database of the Center for Research and Epidemiology of Disasters listed 379 disasters. These events caused economic damage worth $7 billion and killed more than 48,000 people. Millions of other Filipinos were directly or indirectly affected. Disaster can hardly be considered as natural since victims are disproportionately drawn from the segments of the society which are marginalized in daily life. Disaster victims are marginalized geographically because they live in hazardous places, socially because they are members of minority groups, economically because they are poor, and marginalized politically because their voice is disregarded by those with political power. Disasters thus reflect failures in development and should be considered as the extension of permanent emergency situations rather than the consequence of the occurrence of rare and extreme natural hazards. It is today acknowledged that one of the most sustainable ways to prevent the occurrence of disasters is through community-based disaster risk reduction programs or CBDRR. CBDRR emphasizes the participation of affected communities in both the evaluation of their needs and in the ways to sustain them.
Essentially, ang principle namin dyan na tawag namin peoples-based development oriented. Kalamidad na dumarating, pinaghahandaan yan. Okay. Ngayon, para maging peoples-based siya, dapat yung lahat ng effort mo, peoples-based siya, lahat ng effort mo nakatuntong sa mga tao. Ngayon, peoples-based palaging nakaugat sa kanila. Ibig sabihin, ang lahat ng plano mo kailangan mag-start sa anong kalagayan nila. Hindi pa pwedeng nag-uumpisa, halimbawa ang NGO, nag-uumpisa sa papasok sa area, sabihin niya, itong gagawin na natin. So everything will start kung anong kalagayan doon sa lugar. Yun naman na magiging palaging batayan ng plano.
CBDRR empowers communities with self-developed and culturally acceptable ways of coping with crisis brought by the occurrence of natural hazards.
Kailangan palakasin yung capability ng mga tao. Kasi palaging tao rin naman na magtatrabaho. Komunidad, ang mga problema ang lumilitag, sila rin naman na magsosolve.
It further stresses the importance of sustainable livelihoods in enabling people to live with risk. CBDRR is now increasingly promoted among local governments in order to strengthen the links between the official disaster management system and community-based organizations. The local authorities are instrumental in fighting poverty and providing vulnerable communities with better resources and services, as well as technical and financial assistance to mitigate disaster risk. They also play a critical role in raising disaster management awareness and early warning at the local level. In the Philippines, a number of local government units and non-governmental organizations have achieved great success by adopting such community-based bottom-up approach.
Yung sa Bulacan, pagpunta kayo sa Bulacan dyan sa may kawayan, may mga squatter dyan na dinidemolish. Bibigyan namin sila ng training, ng disaster preparedness, magpaplano sila. Pero lagi silang dinidemolish, ang gagawin nila, magtatayo sila ng fire brigade. Umiikot yung fire brigade na yun. Or so, pag tag-araw, umiikot yun, ina-activate nila. Kasi palagi sinusunog eh. O di gagawin nila yon. Tapos i-organize din nila yung iba pa mga kanugnog na mga katabi nila mga squatter hanggang makapagtayo sila ng organization. Tapos nung i-demolish sila, dahil may organization sila, kadugtong nung disaster na pinagmang development project siya, ang ginawa naman nila, nakipag-dialogue sila sa local government. Ang naging output noon, hindi sila pinaalis.
Participatory three-dimensional mapping or P3DM is being increasingly used in community-based resource management as well as for territorial conflicts resolution. P3DMs basically consist of the building of standalone scaled grid maps over which are overlapped thematic layers of geographical information.
Yung participatory 3D mapping, P3DM, which is a tool, a map made of local materials by the people themselves, and kung saan natin i-overlap mga iba't ibang layer of information galing sa kaalaman ng mga tao, galing sa kaalaman ng mga scientista. Dahil po, ang mapa na ito ay scaled and georeferenced. Yung base map para sa paggagawa ng mapa ng ganito ay galing sa GIS. So alam natin kung paano po yung mga coordinates and scale. Usually po yung scale na ginagamit natin ay 1 to 500 o 1 to 1000. So malaki yung scale, maraming detalye. May detalye sa level ng household, kung sino ang pinaka-vulnerableng tao, kung ano bang mga aktibidad o hanapbuhay ng pamilya. At ito ay importanteng impormasyon para sa DRR o disaster risk reduction.
These maps facilitate the interpretation, assimilation, and understanding of georeference information by making them visible and tangible to everyone.
Isa sa mga pinaka-problema na yun ng disaster risk reduction ay kung paano i-integrate ang indigenous knowledge at ng scientific knowledge, o kung paano i-integrate sa mismong disaster risk reduction yung knowledge ng kalaman ng mga tao ay yung kalaman ng mga scientista. Dahil sa na yun, pag may aktibidad sa community level upang i-foster yung paggagamit ng indigenous knowledge, yung mga aktibidad na ito ay limited sa mismong komunidad at sa mga NGO. Sa kabila, yung scientific knowledge ay associated sa mga top-down activity fostered by the government. So parang may aktibidad galing sa baba, may aktibidad galing sa taas, pero walang matching point in between. Katulad ng cartography o mapping. Pagdating sa mga mapa ng scientista, siyempre komplikado, hazard maps, vulnerability maps, maraming knowledge, pero yung mga mapa hindi necessarily understandable para sa mga tao sa mismong komunidad. At the same time, yung mga participatory map ng mga NGOs o people's organization, yung mga 2D-dimensional sketch map, ay usually dismissed by the scientists dahil walang scale, walang georeference, walang coordinates, halimbawa sa mapa, at mahirap para sa mga scientista i-overlap ang kanilang knowledge. So parang problematic. Meron tayong top-down, meron tayong bottom-up, pero wala tayong matching point. Ito yung issue na yun sa DRR. So dito po pumapasok yung participatory 3D mapping, P3DM.
These three-dimensional maps raise local awareness of territories, provide stakeholders with powerful mediums for land use management, and serve as effective community organizing tools. Masantol is a small municipality located in the province of Pampanga in the island of Luzon in the Philippines. The eastern and coastal part of the municipality is composed of the small and remote fishing villages of Sagrada, Sapang Kawayan, Nige, Balibago, Alaule, and Bagang, which are seasonally hit by heavy flooding but are also prone to tropical cyclones, storm surge, earthquakes, and tsunami.
Masantol kasi, di isang town siya ng Pampanga, pero third class. Ang kanilang budget mostly mga 40 million lang. Maliit siya kumpara sa iba pang mga bawa city, mas malaki. Ngayon na yung dalawang area, mayroon na tawag na Masantol Town proper. Tapos ito yung nasa coastal. Ito, coastal ang tawag dito.
During the last decades, and because of the Pampanga Delta subsidence, people had to abandon rice and vegetable staple food cultivation and shift to cash-based aquaculture to make a living. However, in the event of floods triggered by heavy monsoon and typhoon-associated rainfall, fish funds are directed